Hi, my name is Dominic Martin,
Hello, I'm Nicola.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex.
and welcome to
Before you say I do.
Before you say I do.
Before You Say I Do.
Hey, you guys, how you doing? So welcome back to another video, another session on Before You Say I Do. Before we go into this video, yo, just go and like, subscribe, please a comment. I don't even know what you want to comment about. Please a comment about what you're gonna be talking about. Today we're talking about in-laws and outlaws. Yo, this is a really, really sensitive topic. So don't be offended. Yo, what can we talk about? What can we say about in-laws or outlaws? Let's start this conversation. Alex, let me just throw you right into the fire. What should I know about in-laws and outlaws? What role should they play? What should I know about that before I say I do?
Um, for me, before you say I do, it would be wise to know a little bit of back information about the family that you're about to join. The qualities of the mother, the qualities of the father, how they raise their children, um, are they thieves? Are they honest people? You need to know a little bit of the back information. Were there any issues of incest or any issues of rape or all those kind of things? Because let me tell you, you're getting married and you're ready for that. So you know within a few more years you have children coming into that mix, and you need to know what exactly you're bringing your children into. You need to have some back information. You need to be an investigator. That's what it is.
Alex, you went there real deep and real fast, you just boom, sent us right into it. But I love it. I love the conversation. What else do I need to know? In-law or outlaw? I'm about to say I do.
The culture of the family that you're getting yourself into is important. Um, Everyone isn't really mixed for certain types of families. And whereas we like to say, well, it's two people getting married, another family, and stuff like that, that may not be the case for everyone. Really and truly, when you marry an individual, you basically marry, you're taken on, not married, but you are taken on their family and who they hold close as well. And if you all have that conversation in terms of whether you all are deciding to start your own culture, you need to look at the culture of that family, the closeness of the family, and what goes in the family, how they actually treat the other in-laws in their family, and gauge that to see whether or not you are ready or you are willing to pair yourself with someone coming from that family background. Also, um, we're talking about the closer circles, see the mother-in-law and the father-in-law. Most times it's the mother-in-law giving most of the trouble. The father-in-law generally just be cool with the thing. But the mother-in-law, you need to we have a way where sometimes we think that it is natural for mother-in-law and wife to get in arguments or to go tit for tat with each other. And if we're talking in a Christian context, I really have a challenge with that narrative continuing, right? So it means to see that the parents, that mother-in-law, should you would hope that that mother-in-law is operating from a mature spiritual mindset where she could even help to nurture and give the daughter-in-law advice, not telling you this is how I do it and this is how you should do it in your household, but help this new couple to find their own niche. So if you have where I think Alex spoke about in red flags, where that those in-laws are too much in the mix, then you know a level of contention will happen there, and it will actually hinder the growth of that marriage because persons will be trying to please their family members rather than pleasing their spouse.
You touched on a really good point and also very sensitive, Pastor Martin, when you spoke about the mother-in-law giving advice to the wife. And there is a line that is to be drawn there, in my opinion, because you there would need to be a differentiation in giving advice and more or less telling the person what to do. Because, like you said, I find based on observation, a lot of mothers-in-law, they find it hard to let go of their sons, and then now they want. It's almost like they want to turn the wife into a mother, and no wife wants to be a mother. So and two, another thing too, sometimes the husband is looking for his wife to take the place of his mother, and that's dangerous. So mothers-in-law, there needs to be a line that is drawn when you let your son go. Listen, advice. Let me just say that to my future mother-in-law, right? Advice is welcome, but I'm the wife. Eh? I'm the wife in my home. Thank you very much, but that's just a pause for cause. Let's talk some more about in-law outlaw. What else do I need to know when going into?
Sometimes you find in dating a man or courting a man, the mother-in-law does not necessarily like the woman. So she will not make it easy for the woman. She would make the woman, like we say in our local words, she would make the woman walk in my path. Right? She'd make the woman sweat, make the entire situation a living hell for her, because in truth and in fact, she really does not want the woman. But I telling you, for one, if the mother-in-law does not like me to that extent, honey, we still have chance. I'll get me another husband. We still have chance. We still have time.
For me also, in-law, outlaw, what would basically know where to put you during that courting phase. Remember, as a parent, you would want to know that your child pairs themselves with an appropriate individual. And I think a red flag for me in terms of the in-laws is when they are unwilling to get to know the person that your son or your daughter is courting. So if off the bat there is a level of resistance and there is a wall placed, then that for me is an issue, because you would want to now get to know this person just as your son or your daughter is knowing them, so you could feel them out, right? So you could know whether this is a good match for your son, a good match for your daughter, and even get to build a relationship as this could be a prospective member of the family. But when sometimes we find in these type of relationships where the in-law would now block the person from the get-go, then the son or the daughter get married, and then it turns between a war between the mother-in-law and the opposite individual, right? Which could be greatly avoided if there would have been quote unquote even a courting period for the in-laws as well.
Lovely. It's interesting that you should mention that, and I just want to be transparent for a little bit, all jokes aside, Job, and say that I actually had an experience like that with someone I was dating, where the person's mother refused to even know my name, and that for me is grounds to end the relationship. And it sounds petty to somebody just listening and say, well, it's just the person's mother. That's not who you're dating. But if the person's mother is refusing to know you, what is the future of that relationship? That relationship is going nowhere fast. And even if it does end up in marriage, what type of marriage will you have? Think about children when children come into play. I'm sure the mother in law, or at that time, that would be the children's grandmother, she would want a relationship with the children. How is that going to affect you as the mother of the children, where she doesn't want anything to do with you, but then she wants to have everything to do with your children? How comfortable will you be with that as a mother? So then the in-laws play such a major role, and I think it's often overlooked when we go into marriage. Before you say I, this is before you say I do. Once you've said I do, you've said I do. But before you say I do, these are very important things to pay attention to. Let's talk some
And
more.
then
What else?
and yeah, what we need to take into consideration also is that some persons may not have that close relationship with the in-law as well, with the parents as well, to need that level of validation from their parents. One, and two, in your with that example, you gave And as Alex say, he's a mama's boy, then know there's going to be issues in the relationship moving forward. So 12 o'clock in the night, mommy call you to make soup because she can't sleep and she want to talk. And you getting up, you leave in your house and you go in there to talk with mommy. 12 o'clock in the night, and sometimes in-laws may do that just to create a level of contention within the relationship. You would hope in Christian settings that's not the case, because really and truly, um, the in-laws really supposed to act as persons of wisdom to help guide these younger couples into finding their own self. I remember hearing a story about this pastor's wife, and she had sons. She only have sons, and one of the sons' wives were a little rough around the edges, very aggressive, and she purposed that her business is not to tell them what to do, but she just started to operate with the wife based on example, and became the wife's friend. And today she could testify that that's one of the best daughter-in-laws she have, based on how she approached the situation and the example she showed. Now, if she was operating on a different mindset, it would have been, well, now my son, I go in and come in there and I bite you for my son, and that kind of behavior. But it takes a level of wisdom and nurturing, especially with young couples. I think older folks or in-laws sometimes forget that they were once newlyweds and they once wanted to find their own way and their own niche, and they would have appreciated if their in-laws had made it a little easier on them as well.
I'm gonna flip the script on you a little bit, because we've been speaking about I find a lot for negativity from the in-law outlaw. But let's talk about in-law from a good point of view, where a mother would want what is best for her son or what is best for her daughter. Then the mother could really give good advice based on probably certain qualities she would have seen. And there is this proverb that says, what older people see sitting down, the younger person will not see even if they climb up a tree. So how does that come into play when you speak about in-laws and or outlaws?
Well, one of the perspective I learned from that mother in Zion is that she said, I must treat my daughter-in-laws good because when my sons are sick, they are the ones that are home with them. So she took the position that she would be good to her daughter-in-laws, because she knows that in return they will be good to her sons, right? And that is one of the things. When a proper healthy family or wrong family is created, then you leave the lines of communication open for healthy growth and relationship and improvement. And that's one of the benefits of having good in-laws, that it boosts that family, it boosts the family bond. It helps prevent certain things. It even helps prevent infidelity and these things, because you have now both sides of the family looking out for this relationship and would be willing to hold each person accountable, not just hold the in-law accountable and say, okay, my son or my daughter, they could get away with it. But when you have in-laws operating correctly, they act as also accountability partners for the both individuals, and a sense of sound reasoning. So we have there no disparities, and I believe that when in-laws when in-laws could operate together peacefully, is a really beautiful thing.
I just want to come in and share just a little bit, because what I went through. My mother was always somebody. She was always big on her word. She would put my husband and myself to sit and speak out the problem. Talk about the issue until we come to one point of smile, a point where we can smile at each other. And you know what used to happen, and I didn't like that at all. Every time we ended up having a problem, and I take my little pache and go by my mother. She'd give me 2 days to get out of the house. One day to cool down, The other day to pack my stuff together and reach at my home. So it's like, I know if both sides operate in that same manner, you have no choice but to come home and fix your problem. But then the thing is, now we find the parents, they move in the direction of their children. They're being biased when it comes to their children. And like Pastor Martin said, a lot of infidelity happens. Or you see the mother, some of the mothers, they accept men for their daughters, knowing very well that their daughters are married. The guys' parents accept other women for the guys, knowing very well that they're married, and stuff like that. When you hear a parent giving an advice to somebody, to her son or her daughter-in-law, because she does not like the daughter-in-law, tell the daughter-in-law to divorce the husband or something like that, it's very eye-opening. So for me, an in-law need to have some of the core values. Your how do I say it? That bond, that relationship with God, that family need to be God fearing, because you cannot come into a family that's so chaotic. Everybody doing they be drinking rum and everything. And imagine your child coming into that background. Imagine your child moving into that. How can you tell the grandmother you cannot see your child because you smoke too much or you drink too much? The mother would feel like, the grandmother would feel like, but my son never, my son survived it. Why can't my grandchild survive it? And she will never see really and truly what you're trying to say. But you as a parent, you as a person, individual, you raised correctly, you could off the bat see something is wrong in the environment where they are at.
Lovely. I want to defend the mothers-in-law now. Listen, I love mothers-in-law. I've never had one, but I love them. I think I think I agree. I definitely agree with what you guys are saying. But I want to look at it from the point of view that I was making the point I was making a while ago. Sometimes mothers see something in the person that you're dating. And that's something we would have spoken about briefly but in a previous episode. But they would see something in the person that you're dating that you don't see because of maybe the affection that has been developed or whatever it is, and they they might not like that person for you. However, I think there is an appropriate way to do it, and it's like Pastor Martin said: if there is an open line of communication, if you welcome the person as a friend, if you're cordial to the person, then I think then your son or your daughter would be more willing to hear what you have to say. In that, yes, we don't. I don't. That person doesn't. I don't like that person. Like for you, but that doesn't mean I don't like the person at all. So I think that's a tip to the mothers-in-law. So if you don't like the person for your son, doesn't mean you have to be mean or anything like that. Welcome the person as you would, especially if we're believers. Welcome them as a believer, and then afterwards you could talk to your son or your daughter in private. That's my take on it.
And I believe it's all in the communication you have with your child as well. Because if there's an open line of communication, a good relationship, then your child will willingly take your advice, even if they may not see your point of view at the moment. They would put it in the back of their head, and they probably would look for certain cues you could enlighten them. So for me, it's not always what you say, but how you say it, and even your actions as well. Being mindful that at the end of the day, adults would make their own decision, and even if you give an advice, so ensure that there is first a good relationship there. So when you give that advice, they are better able to take it. But for sure, parents would see certain things in someone that you might not see, and it's not always good just to discredit it, but to look at it objectively and see if there's any truth to it as well.
Thank you all so much. You'll have your usual 30 seconds to give your last word. But before you do that, viewers, like, share, subscribe, do all the good stuff. You know what you need to do. Put the comments down below. Tell us what you think about the in-law or outlaw. What is their place? Let us know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Aswit?
In-laws could be a beautiful thing if we use it wisely.
Lovely. Alex?
To me, love and respect. Love and respect is the deal. The deal for the in-law. Just love who you're receiving and respect the relationship, and the deal is sealed.
Thank you all so much. Thank you again for watching. Bye.